Welcome to today's episode of The Blueprint. We are in the Daddy's Girls Talk series. This is part two of National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And we are super excited because we have our amazing featured host, Jacqueline Thorne, speaker and author at Lady J Thorne on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Feel free to email her as well at ladyjthorne@gmail.com. And we have the incomparable Aida Sanchez, speaker, author, and coach at I am Aida Sanchez across Facebook, IG, and Twitter. And feel free to email her at info at IamAidaSanchez.com. Hey,
Good evening.
how are you all? Oh, and I forgot to say our tagline. We are Daddy's Girls, real women,
Women,
real midlife,
real
real
talk.
talk. I am so excited to see you all. We are turning
Yes,
on a dime.
I'm so glad we pressed our way through.
Yes.
Thank you for watching the replay. Sometimes, like Lisa said, life be lifing. But I know it's going to be a great evening because we did have to press our way through. Somebody needed to hear something that we had to say. I feel it dancing in my spirit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
happy to see you
Yes.
through
In
it
my
all.
because I
Yeah.
text in the middle of the day talking about I am still sitting at my desk and I had a little ways to go. We had one of these beautiful Florida evening thunderstorms where you can't even see the lines on the road or the
Oh,
car in front of
Wow.
you. And that was most of the journey home. And then running in. So I'm super excited and blessed and fortunate to be with my girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
How you doing, Miss Ada?
I'm great now. I overcame the day.
Yes.
But you know
This
it's something because
weather,
tonight all of us have glasses on tonight. Right?
yes. The weather has been that type of weather where you just want to relax if you can,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I've been taking advantage of it, taking on my
And no
self-care,
humidity
much
today.
needed, much
Yeah.
needed self-care after caring for my brother.
Yes. How is he
Yes.
Oh,
doing?
yes.
How is he doing?
He's coming
I was about to say
along
housing.
a whole lot better. Another appointment tomorrow, but he's coming along. Yeah, thank
Good.
you.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, so in between time, I got to, take my little downtime.
Recuperate. Uh-huh. Get your battery back up. Get your energy back up,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yes,
Good.
but all is well. Can't complain. There's so much going on everywhere, everywhere, everywhere.
Right. Um,
And
ugh,
it's no coincidence that we're talking about national minority, is it?
yes.
Minority National Mental Health Month,
Yes.
because we all need to be practicing some self-care.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to flow and not run around chasing our tails, because at the end of the day, it is not going to do us any good. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. Like Lisa said, inundated at work, and I'm sure you have been as well, Jacqueline. And that alone, with
Yeah.
everything else that's going on in the outside world, it's enough to make you feel some kind of way sometimes, where you just want to disconnect. But it's so important that we do not disconnect and isolate, because that is not a good place or space to be. We,
And
yeah,
yes.
so
And that's not good for our mental health.
absolutely,
Right. And
absolutely.
don't you have a saying about the enemy creeping, or is it a? I've heard you say something about loneliness and the enemy using that loneliness. Ada.
Well, anytime he can get you isolated, he will throw those darts into your head, those thoughts, those
Mm-hmm.
negative thoughts, and And then if you're not strong enough to erase those thoughts or send them back to the sender, then it can be harmful. So it's so important that we connect with someone that we trust, that we can speak to. If it's
Right.
not a physical therapist, someone that's close to us that we can speak to, that understands or may be going through something or has come out of something, that can give us a word or help us, of encouragement to help us get through whatever it is that you may be going through during that time. But it's important to build a support network. It's so, so important. We talk about community. It's very important. Do not isolate. It's important to surround yourself around people who will uplift and support you. So, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what came to mind when you were saying that, Ada, is a song that we used to sing. Somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind,
Mhm.
took the time to pray for me. And I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad that they prayed for
Yes.
me, because when we're in the battle of isolation and not caring for ourselves properly or caring for ourselves well enough, we don't even have the strength to pray for
Right.
ourselves,
Absolutely.
right? I don't know, I've been there,
Absolutely.
maybe maybe somebody else has as well, but yeah, I just didn't even have the strength or wherewithal
Mm-hmm.
to pray for myself. And so it was the random telephone calls of or text messages or
Mm-hmm.
somebody saying, you know what, you just dropped into my
Right.
spirit today, and I just want you to know I prayed,
Yes.
I prayed
Mhm.
for you. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Uh,
and community is important.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to use myself as an example. And it just became apparent to me as you were speaking, as both of you were speaking. So it's about pain, right? I've been in pain
Mm,
this week. And I know that somebody else watching this may be in pain at the time, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of pain. When you're in pain, you will do anything to stop it
Yeah.
sometimes, right? I've caught myself in being asked, "What are you doing?" on a phone call, and I have spaced out, right? Because I'm tr- I can't turn off the pain, so I'm trying to dull the pain. So if you liken that to, that's a physical and a mental issue, right? I'm going to mention an agency in a few minutes that I just found out today. We're doing some research on this subject, but it's the same for mental health, right? Or addiction, right? Which is a form of mental health.
Mhm.
You're addicted to something that you can't back off of, right? Because it's soothing or it's turning off your mind to something, right? It's helping you
come on.
forget, right?
Yes.
So again, we want our goal this month in highlighting National Minority Mental Health Month is to normalize things that are mental health. First of all, everyone is affected. Everyone has a mental health to protect, to preserve, to be healthy. If it's not healthy, we all have mental health, right?
Mhm.
Hence, Mental Health Day, right? That's a real thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes,
I think they need to add it as a category. When you take your
yes,
leave, it's like
yes,
annual leave, sick leave, personal time
Mental
off.
yes.
health
I
day.
think there should
Yes.
be a
Mental
designator,
health,
mental
right?
health.
It is
Yeah.
Mhm.
best for my mental health.
That I stay
Right.
home.
Look, and for everybody else I would come in contact with,
Yeah.
that I
Absolutely.
take the day for
Baby,
mental health.
Absolutely.
it's in
Please
everybody's
and
best
thank
That's
interest.
you.
right. That's right.
Woo!
I used to call them my
My
mental
God,
health days
today.
all the
Yes.
time. Those when I
Yes.
needed
Right,
time out, it was my mental health day. And I made
right.
sure that I took it.
And we called it too slick leave, and I stopped calling it that
Mhm.
because it's not slick leave.
Right.
When I think about it, I think of it in terms of sick means we're not 100% well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I was sending my time off, well, now I'm going on record, and it's an accurate statement. today I'm not feeling 100%.
Right.
So if you need 100% of me today, I don't have it to give. I don't know what percentage I have, but it's not 100%.
Right.
So when I get back to 100%, I will be back in the office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental health. It's a pain.
But let's stick with that
The
pain.
pain. Yeah, I was going back to the pain, right?
Yeah, that
Right.
tapped on
Yeah,
something right
right,
there.
right,
That
right.
pain.
Because when you in pain,
Mm.
from your heart aching to breaking to an explosion in your head, right? You done, like, I don't know, one of my favorite, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here.
I mean,
God bless. That's my theme song sometime, right? Or
yes.
no, let me not talk about that. But yeah, sometimes you need to.
Now I'm curious what that song
Well,
is.
yeah,
I'm
I'll
trying to
tell you
think. What is
offline,
it?
and then you'll see. I was
Okay.
like, okay, I can't even. I'm trying to think of another, adjective or verb to put in there to replace this word. There's no way
Okay.
that you wouldn't know what song I'm talking about. So I'm gonna
Okay.
anoint myself
Okay.
and not included on this broadcast. It's not for this broadcast. Maybe we need to have a after dark, or
That's
something. We need to
right.
have
That's right.
a
That's right.
womanly
Oh,
talk
when we're in
after dark,
person.
right?
Yes. When we have our in-person time with
Yes,
folks, that's when we talk
yes,
about that one. Yes.
yes, yeah. But pain, right? We
Yeah.
use it so freely. Oh, you a pain in my butt.
Mm-hmm.
All of this thing, right? Pain, right? It is, and so is addiction. Is pain, right? They're trying to drown something out. They're trying to drink something away. They're trying to shoot up and blow that memory out of their memory banks, right?
Sex it
Right.
away.
That
Shop it away.
exactly. You trying to turn
Yeah.
down
Eat
some
it
kind of pain,
away.
right? Or you trying to mask something. You're
That's
running
it.
away from something, and addiction of all kinds, right? And it's like sin. A sin is a sin is a sin, and so is pain. And the way that I deal with my pain and the way that you deal with your pain, it's just as different as the characteristics and our DNA. It's just different. It doesn't make her or mine any more valid. It's just different, right? And some of us unfortunately have to sink very low before we're picked back up again, right? And sometimes it's grandma, it's mama and them, or sister and them trying to help, right? Or trying to pray through, like, it comes in all forms. We've all seen it. We've all had it in our families. We've all had some form of addiction that affected our lives, right? And not having ample health care, mental health care, psychiatrists, therapists, and people who look like us, that's not going to send us to
Yes.
the nodes with the hat on and all that stuff, right? Like, we used to
Yes.
really
To
be
St.
like.
Elizabeth's in DC. Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I hear a lot about Shepherd Pratt up here in Baltimore. Like, again,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, I had somebody
Yeah.
who always said, just that's where I'm gonna be. Just check me as a
Yeah.
former coworker. He's like, that's
Yeah.
not where I'm gonna be. It's just too much, right?
It's
Because
the
everybody has their breaking point,
yeah.
Yes.
So all
right?
those things you mentioned, it's like putting the band-aid on it. It's the temporary gratification, hoping that you feel better, but really you're not. You're just making matters worse because you're not dealing with the root cause of the issue. And so sometimes we just have to take a time out. Like I said,
Mm.
just lay down, get quiet. Even if you can't pray out loud, sometimes you just meditate in your head and just take that time to be still, disconnect your phone maybe, so that, I mean, not that you're going to isolate by disconnecting, but sometimes you just need that few minutes, a half hour, whatever it is, just to be quiet and get some downloads and just be still and still away from all the noise and all the chatter, everything,
Right.
because sometimes that's all we need. Or like Dr. Lisa has the advantage of going to the ocean, because she's near the beaches. So just going to take a walk by the ocean, maybe just hearing the waves, just nature, So it's important, just to take that time out and treat yourself good. Just love on yourself, and in the process of it, educate yourself on what it is you're going through. Do your own research and try to pinpoint what you're feeling. And so that when you do talk about it, you can explain exactly what it is that you feel, because sometimes it's hard to describe what we're feeling. And so if you can be still and try to just like figure out, well, why am I feeling this way, or what am I feeling? Aside from the pain, there could be other things going on. And so it's just that time out time, just to be still. It works for me. I mean, I just take that
Yes.
time just to be still, and it just gives me energy, because I've taken the time to just to be still and calm, rather than constantly going and going. When you're not feeling well, it only makes it worse.
And real talk, when you're in that kind of pain, sometimes even addressing the pain or talking about the pain is painful.
Yes. Yes.
And we have to be prepared to sit in it, be with it in order to express it.
Mhm.
So I think about there's some injuries that we have that that you can have to your body, that in order to fix it, they have to break it
Mhm.
in order to have a clean break for it to heal properly.
Mhm.
You already in pain. You already broke
Come on
something.
now.
But in order for it to heal properly,
Mm.
there has to be a clean break
Mhm.
for them to be able to put it back together again, for it to heal properly. Physical therapy, we talked about that, is that they give you the non-steroidal drugs to take for the pain so you can get through the physical therapy. And people are like, I'm not taking that medicine. And you go to physical therapy and crying out and screaming and hollering because they needed to give us something
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
to be able to fully stretch the way we needed to stretch,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
pull the way we needed to pull, in order to experience, realize, and manifest the healing
Yeah.
that we needed to manifest. So we can't hide from it, because the longer we hide, the longer it's going to take to heal. And
Wait,
oof,
repeat that last sentence and then pause. We need to give it a second to marinate.
the longer we hide, the longer it's going to take to heal. S- So we think about, and I've worked with people who've been challenged with substance abuse, and the healing process between someone who's been addicted for a couple of years versus a couple of decades is different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even other addictions, not necessarily even substance abuse, and that was one of the places that you mentioned. SAMHSA,
Yeah.
Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, is a resource to reach out to. They have wonderful information. And that was also the website that you had talked
Yeah.
about, Jacqueline, that said that we all have mental health,
Correct.
just like we all have a heart.
Mhm.
If we're living and breathing, we all have a heart. So we all have mental health that we have to check in on and make sure it's okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've gotta, in order to deal with it, in order to deal with the trauma, the triggers, the underlying current of the pain, we've got to face it head on, and sometimes we have to sit in that pain in order to heal properly.
Mhm. Now that substance abuse, it reminds me because I used to work with this population years ago. You have the Cami and the Micah population. The Cami being the chemical abuser who
Yeah.
becomes mentally ill from the chemical abuse.
Prolonged.
Then
Yes.
and then you have the mentally ill who becomes the chemical user.
Mm-hmm.
So then so it works reverse both
Yes.
ways. So you have to be aware of that. That when you're going through something, that you don't get hooked on chemical abuse because you feel that that is the way out. That is not the way out. So, we just have to be very mindful and reach out to these organizations that are here to give you the professional assistance that is required for your unique and the unique individual's
Yes.
situation, because everyone's situation is unique. It's different. So we can't say every situation is the same. So yeah, you have to reach out and get that professional help.
I don't know why, but this topic is making me think because it's National Minority Health, Mental Health Awareness. It's not international. Uh,
Mm.
like we have a brother from Ghana that joins sometimes, and we have. So I'm just curious, and if any of the viewing audience, can answer this as well. How is this handled in the UK or Central America or the Caribbean? How is mental health handled there, right? I mean, of course, we're in the U.S. and we speak about the U.S. and we're having a tough time with it, right? Because we have much more dense populations, and you would think that more diversity, like that's a whole nother topic, what that really does mean, but you have a lot of variance. So if you have 100,000 people per block capita in New York City, then what's the likelihood that a percentage of them, it's math is the math. The math is math be mathing, you have to deal with the percentages, right? It's just, and out of that population, when they get sick, where they're gonna go, or what kind of facilities or opportunities are going to be addressed in this, just like you would address like 40,000 of that 100,000 are children, so they need to go to school. So is there a school in that block? Like, it's just, we're missing opportunities, right? Look at the whole entire picture. If they can, what is the new technology? If they can, I don't want to say assume, they can analyze who they think may commit a crime.
Mm.
And then gather a list based on that. Like, I don't know how many shows we don't watch that, like, they narrow it down. Like, sometimes it's just a license plate, but sometimes it's a characteristic trait as well.
Yes.
But yeah, you need to. I think we just miss opportunities, and the more we're beating the drum because we want it to be normal to have
Mhm.
someone unbiased for you to discuss things that you may or may not know if that's again, I don't want to say normal, but that's the only word I have right now. But I don't want to say normal because normal for me is not normal for you, right?
Right.
But in terms of living as a productive member of society and respecting each other as our neighbors and our fellow mankind, some of your normal, you know, is jumping over on my porch. And we need to make sure that we sweep that back over to your porch and that you deal with your stuff. Be responsible, right? Of dealing with your own, it is self-care, right? It is
Mm.
self-care. We also talked a little bit before we came into the hour about children or your experiences, right? Until you went to your cousin's house, your girlfriend's house, your brother, girlfriend, boyfriend, you didn't have anything really to compare what was normal, right?
Right.
And if something is different, or if you ask a question, are you getting the answer, or it's because I said so? It depends on what kind of communication you have in your individual household,
Yes. Yes.
right? And that
Yeah.
might be the same for you as well, right? I know for myself, I've always been so social to be an only child. Okay. I've always been so social. I've always had an extra mama here, somebody adopt me over there, sister, all of that for me to, all the time, you know. But again, like you said, circle back, somebody prayed for me, had it on mind because I can be many places and be the extra niece or additional daughter
Yeah.
or the sister or what, that just means my community can hug me a little bit, stronger because I have, what's that saying about three hands, make a knot, but two, you're stronger with three, to make a braid or a cord. Like my braid is a little bit longer, However, that's just how God set me up, that's just me.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sure he does something special for you and for you too. However, I'm everybody's extra or addition. They done took me and adopted me, and I'm so grateful and blessed
Yes.
to have this experience. But my point about that is I could be very non-social, very
Yeah.
and I'm self-reliant. I know how to be my own good company. I know how to be alone. I don't need to have people around all the time. Um, However, that's not the case, right? I do get the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to have those times. So some people never know those times, especially if you're with a
Right.
mate. The kids are grown, they left the house. If you're still with your spouse, fine. But if you never lived on your own and you have the opportunity to, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend living on your own once.
But see, some people, okay, so some people can't. Some
Well,
people learned during COVID. I know of several instances where individuals realized how much their community was a part of their existence. And when they did not have it, it was not good. And some folks had to move in with family members, and not because of a financial situation, but the psychosis of being home alone, not able to see people. They realized how social they were and how much they relied on that community for their energy.
mhm.
And when they didn't have it, because remember, y'all, the hospitals were full with mental health. Aside from the COVID cases, the need for mental health services skyrocketed for children and for adults. That because we came to realize, and we had a lot of time to think, honey, and we had a lot of time to be like, you know what? These four walls, for those who found out, these four walls are closing in on
Mhm.
me. I can't get to the people that I normally hang out with. You know what? I really don't want to be by myself. I think I'm okay I thought I was okay by myself, but I'm really not good um by myself. So and the dating apps, remember the use of the dating apps just like skyrocketed as well, because people were looking for community, communication, um
I agree.
intimacy,
I, I
you
I
know.
definitely agree with that. Those are all good signs. But I'm talking more about independency, right? And knowing how to hold it down, right? And have and not always have a roommate, or living for
But
others.
everybody can't do it.
Well,
Everybody
How you
can't
gonna
do
know if you
that.
do it if you never try? Okay, most people are in positions where they want the opposite of what they have, right? So in the scenario that I'm talking about, where it's empty nesters, right? And then
Yeah.
maybe a spouse passes, and then you're by yourself, right? Sometimes that's the first time that somebody ever lives on their own, right? Or able to walk
Yes.
around free, butt naked to the refrigerator to get some milk or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh my
I'm just
God.
saying. That I'm talking about that kind of freedom.
Refrigerator,
I
not the
mean,
refrigerator. I'm
hold
just
on.
saying. I'm just saying.
What?
I, yeah, but that is it takes a lot, Jacqueline. I'm telling it takes a lot.
I get it, but all I'm saying is for people who are too much in their shell, I want to encourage them. But for people who just can't do it, or you talk yourself into can't do it, I don't think you tried hard enough. But I get needing to have people around, right? That's
I,
all I'm gonna say.
I mean, maybe look, when a preacher's preaching and it's like he's on my pew, maybe that's what that is. You might
Yeah,
be
well,
on my
maybe
pew,
it's all like
and I'm just telling
you
you,
feeling the heat from my breath on the back of your
I'm
back,
just telling you,
on the,
girl,
on
move
the pew
on.
behind you. Like, why is she breathing down my neck? Like,
I'm just telling you, move on, move on.
on to the next thing. What's on the list?
I mean, because I live alone, I'm fine for the most part
Right.
living alone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my preference? No.
Right.
It isn't. Now, do I need enough space so that they can be in their space and I can be in my space and we come
Mm-hmm.
together when we feel like it? Absolutely.
Right.
But no, that's not my it's not my preference.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law is Caribbean, and their culture is a multi-generational home. So that's how he grew up. That's uh, grandparents, parents, like an
Mm-hmm.
Asian culture, right?
Right.
Everybody living together or whatever. And I think I would entertain that.
Mm-hmm.
Entertain that idea for sure. Because when I was going through the cancer situation, I was with them,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents and them, three
Right.
generations under the same roof. And I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then going home by myself to an empty place, I was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I just want to ensure we are on the same page.
Yes.
I've lived alone longer than I have not lived with
Yeah.
someone. So and I get that, right? And merging and evolving into the marriage that will happen for
Yes.
me. Um, it's going to be an adjustment, right?
Yeah.
Again, do I want that? Yes, I do. I want that more than I want to continue to have my independence. But if I never had it again, I've had it before,
Yeah.
right? And that's all I'm saying is I know how not to need to have somebody there. I want somebody there,
Right. Right.
but
Right. Right.
it just can't be any nobody. And sometimes that's a long time in
Okay.
between. That's
Okay. So,
all.
okay. So real talk,
Yeah.
and we talking about mental health and self
Yeah.
care, and we're
Mm-hmm.
we're midlife. So what does that look like then in terms of, like, do you go to premarital counseling and have that conversation that, hey, we're 50 and above, we're
Right.
used to living by ourselves?
Yes.
What does that look like to people who are independent, enjoy walking around in your birthday suit to the refrigerator, Jacqueline, and now you and now you share how do you adjust and is that something that you talk about even?
I say yes. I mean, I'm having those conversations right now.
Okay.
You know, um,
Did she say right now?
right now,
Did you hear that, Ada?
um,
I just want to be clear.
like what
You said she
exactly?
slipped that in, Ada. I just want you to know.
Right.
Okay.
I would say it is imperative that that each individual has their own creative space. Call it man
Mm-hmm.
cave, she shed, whatever you want
She
to call
said.
it. Make sure that you have your space. It's so
Agreed.
important,
Yeah. Yeah.
for both parties, that you have your
Absolutely.
own thing, you have your own door to close.
Yeah.
You know, I know you want to leave the door open, but it's okay. Close it.
You're gonna leave the
Yeah.
door open. That's
That's
Mario, right?
so important because sometimes, sometimes some people could be so clingy and needy, and if you're not that type, that can be a problem. And
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
especially when you are in your space alone, and then all of a sudden you have someone hovering over you that acts like they can't function if they're not up under you. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
that
doesn't
might
work
be a
for
deal
me. That
breaker.
doesn't work for
Right.
me.
Right.
We all have to have, even though you become a couple and become one, but you have to have your own life, like your own little interests and
yes,
little things you
yes,
do. Like you might want to do something with your male friends, and I may want to do something with my girlfriends, and but then we could do the couple thing, and there has
right.
to
Because
be
we're gonna
balance.
continue to travel,
There has to
so
be
that's
balance
a
because
must. Just
sometimes
throwing it out there.
the clinginess sometimes can break up those other relationships that you may have outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then God forbid that person is no longer there, then what do you have? Because now you've I won't say neglected, but you
Neglected.
neglected or
Isolate,
severed
right?
those
Mm-hmm.
ties, yes,
Yeah.
with
Yeah, I
people.
think that's a good subject. I think we need to keep on talking about that or continue,
Hmm.
because people need to know the boundaries, but they also need to know when, it's okay as well, right? And that's something that you communicate to, right? In terms of, we have different relationships, right? And we have girlfriend relationships that need special attention and needs time and needs nurturing and needs,
Hmm.
just let me just sit here and blab out everything. We need that time, right? You just need that time,
Hmm.
right? So again, it is up to the people, like, the people that are around you, who love you, who care about you. They want to give you your time, but they don't know when to sort of jump back in, but that's your responsibility as well, right? To have your time, right? So that people don't feel like they're intruding on,
Yeah.
your relationship, right?
Right.
That's all things that must be talked about, right? Because I mean, I'm
Yes.
used to going away at least once a year, with the girls.
Yeah.
I don't see that changing. I don't see that changing. I think that's very healthy. um so things that are important to you, right? Maybe it's not travel,
Mhm.
right? Maybe you're not addicted to travel like some people, or all of us on this platform might be. Whatever your thing is, right? You need to carve out and make room for that, right? To have your own jam, right? Because
And that's the mental health.
mhm,
What is good for your mental health and your psychosis, right? And your psyche, and knowing what that is, fully acknowledging that,
Mhm.
embracing it, owning it. And some areas where we may have to give a little bit, be knowing where you can give, right? And doing that, because that will mess with your mind, being in a relationship in a space with someone that you haven't had those kind of conversations.
right. Like,
Yeah.
how are you when you're angry?
Yes.
How do you handle anger? Are you a bitter person? I've heard you tell me some things, and it sounds like you might have some bitterness. Like,
Right.
let's talk about, the good, the bad. Like, again, all of it, right? You need to see all sides. Just like when you go by or going to live someplace, you want to see what it look like at night, not just in the day, in the middle of the day. Again,
Yes.
all those things.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
how are things when things are unfortunate, right? It's not going so well. How do you
Right.
handle that, right? What are your mental health triggers, right? We all have
Yeah.
mental health, and I think sometimes we don't use it for good, and people know somebody's triggers, and they constantly, setting those triggers off as opposed to, loving, and being receptive to other needs for
Yes.
somebody else, right? That's
Yeah.
so important, that you're selfless in certain times, right?
And that's somebody you shouldn't be in relationship with,
Right.
because that's not even a long-term situation. If you know what my triggers are and you keep doing those things and call yourself helping me, I'm trying to help you heal. Have a seat, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right,
know,
right,
over there in somebody else's
right.
space. Yeah.
But the person, let's say in that instance, might not even know that their triggers are being set, right? And not dealing with their mental health on that
Right.
issue or addressing that. Like, how come I keep on running into this same problem with different people?
Oh my God, that's a whole nother episode, Jacqueline.
All right, write it down.
That
Put the
that is
picture.
a whole nother episode, because if I keep drawing in this same type of personality
Different face, different.
and I am the common denominator, what am I putting out there? How am I showing up and
Mm-hmm.
presenting that this keeps showing up for me?
That's
That's
an
the next show.
unresolved issue.
Bang.
Next show.
Period. Unresolved issue.
That's a conversation
And
I haven't had with
and
myself. Yes.
and
Yes.
and wherever you go, whether it's a new relationship, it shows up. It comes right
Yeah.
with
Yes.
you because
Common
it's
denominator.
it's
Right.
a
It's
unresolved issue.
something
It's
you
like
attract and you don't even
you
know that you
have
have that,
you
right?
have people that leave jobs because they're having a problem, but they go to the next job and that same issue follows them because
Yes.
they haven't dealt with that issue.
Yes.
It's an unresolved issue and it's something that they need to work within themselves. So, like I used to tell people, you can't run from yourself.
No. And everybody's not jealous. Come on
Exactly.
here. Everybody's not
Exactly.
jealous of you. Everybody is
Exactly.
not, they don't like me
No,
because
no.
I'm so cute. I had this problem
That's
everywhere I
right.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you might need to talk to somebody,
Right.
because if that's the problem that you have everywhere you go and
That's
it's
right.
only when you going,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
then
Like
That's
yeah.
that's
it.
what you like. What is it? I'm smelling what you cooking, or I'm putting out. I'm picking up what you laying
I'm
down.
picking up what you putting
Yeah.
down. Yeah, because that's a whole nother
Yes.
episode. Because if I
Yes.
keep attracting where, then you get into what am I putting out there? And I know people, this is not new age psychobabble, is where like attracts like.
Mm-hmm.
Period. The Bible says try the spirit by the
That's
spirit.
right.
So what you putting out there, if that is what's coming back, then we gotta check
That's
self
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to
Absolutely.
see, what am I saying, what am I doing that this continues to show up. And I need to talk to somebody, because
Thank you.
because I'm tired of this showing up,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to retrain myself, get some new patterns and new habits in place so that I can attract more of what I'm looking for. Cause what they talk about, birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for somebody that is of a particular status or whatever,
Right.
a lifestyle, if I want somebody that's healthy
Mm-hmm.
and eats healthy, me going into a particular restaurant where everything is deep fried, the grease is crackling off of it, and it's melting. I know what I'm talking about. The styrofoam is melted from all the hot grease of the food that's put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing in that restaurant talking about, Lord, Send me a healthy man that eats well.
That's it right there.
I'm not in the right
That's
place.
right.
It
No,
doesn't mean
you
God
in
didn't hear
you in
me.
it. What's that insanity? Doing something
I
the same way
doing the same
over and over
and
again, and
expecting a
expecting a
different
different
result.
result.
Right. I need to go. I need to go to. I
You're
don't
gonna get the
know.
chicken box man every time.
With the sugar
Yes,
and the blood
with the
pressure
half
and
and
all, yeah,
half.
with the sugar, diabetes, and all of that, right? And all of that. But if I'm going to the health food store, herbal remedy shop,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be other people in there
Right.
that have care and thought for their health.
Yes.
Or a health food store, right? Or you know what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I keep going to chicken box, I'm gonna keep getting chicken
That's
box.
Yep.
right. So we have to
That's it.
remember we are all a spirit. We have a soul. We live in a body. We
That's
are not
right.
our body. I don't care how much you try to put on the outside and put off,
Yes.
but
Mm-hmm.
your spirit is what attracts another spirit. So
Mm-hmm.
if you were running around all cray cray, and so that other
Yes.
cray cray spirit is just gonna attract,
Oh, there we
attach.
go. Yeah.
Oh, she cray cray like me. Okay, let
Look.
me talk to her.
All
But if
right.
they pick up that you are not, that you have a strong sound, spirit, they're not gonna,
Yes.
they're not even gonna come near you.
I think
They're
you
not
should.
even gonna look your way.
I think you should start next segment with the last 5 minutes of this segment.
I
We
know.
really
Right.
getting into a whole nother show.
But that still has to do with the mental health
Yes,
It
though.
does.
yes,
But
yes,
but
Because it's
yes.
something wrong if I'm just gonna keep showing up in the wrong place
yes,
with
yes,
my pain-filled self,
Mm-hmm.
heartbroken self,
yes.
and want to meet somebody with a whole and healed heart
Right. That doesn't work.
and ready for a relationship.
Mm, mm,
It
mm,
doesn't
mm.
But
work
I'm
that
not
way.
ready for a
Poor
relationship.
Mm.
thing. Poor thing.
Right? Poor
I
It
Fina.
do-
mean,
Well, my grandmother used to
we are
say,
like
poor Fina.
magnets. We're only gonna attract what we are.
Right.
That we're gonna pull to us exactly what we are
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
in that
Okay.
time. So I'm gonna leave it there.
I
Mm.
need a glass of wine. Is that substance abuse?
No,
No.
No, you just want to relax. No, but it's all about knowing yourself, working
Yes.
on yourself, not being in denial about things that we know we need to fix within ourselves,
mm-hmm.
Yes.
because we all have something. None of us are perfect, and we all have things that can be better, that we just need to
Yes.
eject, or just get our emotional intelligence intact.
Right.
Ooh, come on,
Come on.
emotional intelligence,
Right.
Ada. Come on through.
Mm.
I'm
Like a
telling.
mic drop.
Okay, so that's it. That was in my shot. I know somebody hit that organ. Dun, 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 dun. So, well, we know we talk about next week.
Yes, we do.
What are we attracting? What? Oh, come on. What is our mental health attracting?
Ooh, this gonna be on fire.
That's it. What is our mental health attracting?
Mhm.
Wow.
Ooh, I felt
I'm gonna have to
that.
go back and look at this really quickly. I'm gonna have to be blessed
Oh,
by listening to this whole thing all over again. Thank y'all in advance for blessing my YouTube screen because I'm gonna be listening back real soon.
oh my gosh.
Woo!
What is next week? Join us. And next week, the calendar. Let me see. Oh, Lord
26.
Jesus. It's the 26th.
Yes.
Okay. So next
It's the
week, and
last
that's
week
the
in this
last,
month.
yes. And that's the last week in this month. So what a better place to end but begin
Mm-hmm.
is what is our mental health
Attracting.
attracting? Okay, with that, we're gonna go to the ocean. Take me to the water. Take me to the water. Oh my
I think I
gosh.
was in Hawaii.
Oh, Jesus. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you
Have a
so
blessed
much for joining
Thank
us on the Daddy's
you.
Girls Talk
Stay
series.
well.
We're real women, real midlife, real talk.
have a good evening.